Patterson and what he wanted to achieve, which was really his life poem. Said that he wanted to write a kind of poetry that didn't exist yet, and is that something that was, part of the creative endeavor of this work?
Well, I have to admit that the book-length poem Patterson is kind of evades me. It goes over my head. It's very complex. There are very beautiful things that do resonate for me, but it's not the thing of William Carlos Williams that speaks to me the most. I love his smaller poems, his observational poems. I'm a descendant, in a way, of the New York School of Poets, and Frank O'Hara wrote a very beautiful manifesto called Personism, which says that poems under this manifesto would be written to a single person, to someone you love or someone you know, almost like a note that you leave them, not like standing on top of a mountain and proclaiming something to the world, And great progenitor, is that the right word, of that idea is William Carlos Williams. And the poem we use in the film, This Is Just to Say, is maybe a bit obvious. It's a very known poem of his, but it is, in fact, a note left on a table to someone about having eaten the plums they were saving for breakfast. So to me, that's like the most beautiful example of William Carlos Williams being a godfather of this type of poetry. So, and I'm a son, I hope, of the New York School, and I studied with Kenneth Koch and with David Shapiro, and they're my godfathers, My mother's a twin, actually, with her twin brother, but the twins thing wasn't in the script originally, and then while we were shooting, I believe at some point a woman who had children that were going to be extras in the film, I don't remember the chronology of this, but I know at one point, that way she could bring one of the twins to the shoot, and the other one could be in school, and then she could switch them. And I was like, wow, that's really sneaky, But then I thought, wow, I want twins to recur in the film, because I love the idea of synchronicity when someone tells you something that you weren't thinking about, and then suddenly you start seeing it over and over. Like lately this happens to me. I keep seeing young women with leg braces, with like an injured leg, right? I keep seeing it every day. I hadn't noticed it in years, And these things start, it's like a weird thing that you start seeing. And so I wanted her to mention twins and have him start seeing twins. But I didn't want the end of the film like, yes, I'm pregnant with twins, I didn't want any of that kind, or I didn't want the dog to get jacked by some, some gangsters in a car. There was just like these things happen, so it was more about synchronicity. So I don't know, I have no idea what the twins thing means other than something just sort of planted, and because Patterson's character is a kind of receptor of things. That's his job as a poet, and that's why he likes a routine. He doesn't have to think about what clothes does he wear to work, what route does his bus take, what does he do each day. He has a routine, and that allows him to float and to receive things and to be a poet. So I like the idea of the twins just being sort of planted, and then he starts noticing them. But beyond that, it has no, we're going for the anti-significance, or something.
Long live anti-significance.
Yeah. Well, the film's not I love Patterson, I love the history of Patterson, but the film is obviously not a social document of Patterson. Patterson's a complicated, kind of rough place, and our film is a semi-imagined Patterson, and you know, that's what we intended, and we wanted to keep a certain visual, I don't know, truth of Paterson, of how it feels there, and also of its ethnic diversity. It's incredibly diverse, and those things are in the film, but yeah, it's not a social documentary of Paterson.
I wasn't demanding one. But I also want to just comment on how extraordinarily beautiful this film is visually. And you were saying that was Fred Ohms in the audience, your cinematographer?
I don't know if Fred is here, but wow, incredible respect to Fred.